I thought my daughter was falling apart over her looks, but she was secretly preparing to give away the one thing she loved most on the anniversary of her mother's death. 4 months ago, I noticed my daughter brushing her hair. That alone wasn't strange. What was strange was that it was the 7th time that day, and her hair was already smooth. No knots, no tangles, nothing to fix. "Savannah," I said, trying to keep it light. "What the hell are you doing with your hair all day? You looking for gold in there?" She snapped so fast it stunned me. "Leave me alone!" she screamed, and then she slammed her bedroom door so hard the hallway picture frames rattled. I stood there, confused and irritated, telling myself it was just hormones. Her mom used to warn me about this phase. I figured she'd started her period and didn't want to talk about it, so I gave her space. A week passed. When I figured things had settled, I asked if she wanted to go to the movies with me, just like we used to. "No," she said instantly, without even looking up. "Why not?" "Because I have to take care of my hair," she said, walking into the bathroom and putting on a thick hair mask like it was the most important thing in the world. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her teacher. "Savannah's grades are dropping. If they don't improve, she'll need to enroll in summer school." I stared at the screen, my stomach twisting. Her GPA had been a perfect 4.0 just weeks ago. Savannah was the kid teachers held up as an example. Something was wrong. The next morning, I did what I thought a responsible single dad should do. I went behind her back and met with the principal. When I sat down in his office, he sighed heavily. "You know, Savannah used to be the reason her class average was so high. Why couldn't you have raised her better?" I just stared at him. He cleared his throat quickly. "I'm sorry, that came out wrong. It's just disappointing to see another female student fall into the trap of social media and obsession with appearance. All her teachers say she's constantly touching her hair instead of paying attention." Hair. That word followed me home and echoed in my head all night. That night, I did something I swore I would never do. I went through her diary. I hated myself for it, but I needed answers. The very first page stopped my heart. Across the top, written in bold letters, were the words, "The plan." Underneath were photos of her hair at different lengths, measurements, notes, a calendar with March 15th circled in red. March 15th, the anniversary of her mother's death. My hands started shaking as I read on. "I haven't told Dad yet. He wouldn't understand. He'd try to stop me." And then the line that broke me. "I keep thinking about Mom. This is for her on March 15th. She'd want me to do this so I can see her again." I dropped the diary and sat on her bed, sobbing into my hands. All I could think was that I had failed. I had missed the signs. My daughter was planning something irreversible, something tied to grief I thought we had survived together. For the next 2 weeks, I barely slept. Every time she brushed her hair, my chest tightened. Every closed door felt like a warning. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. When she came home from school one afternoon, I was waiting for her in the living room. My voice was shaking when I spoke. "Savannah, I read your diary. I'm sorry. I know I crossed a line, but I need to know what's happening on March 15th. Whatever it is, we'll face it together." She stared at me for a long moment, then her face crumpled, and she started crying. "Dad," she said through tears, "it's not what you think." She pulled out her phone and showed me a website. It was a charity that makes wigs for children with cancer. "My best friend Lily's little sister just got diagnosed with leukemia," she said. "She's 6. She's terrified of losing her hair." She wiped her eyes. "And I kept thinking about Mom. Remember how she cried when her hair fell out during chemo? How she said she didn't recognize herself anymore? That's when everything clicked. She wasn't obsessed with her hair. She was protecting it. March 15th is my salon appointment," she said softly. "I'm cutting it all off and donating it. I wanted it to mean something. I wanted it to be for Mom." I pulled her into my arms and held her like she was little again. I felt ashamed of every assumption I'd made, every joke, every time I'd brushed her off instead of listening. "Your mom would be so proud of you," I whispered. And in that moment, I realized how badly I'd misunderstood not just my daughter, but grief itself. It doesn't always look like breaking down. Sometimes it looks like growing something carefully, quietly, just so you can give it away.